I think,
Okay, I
yeah, it
start
started.
recording right now. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're
So,
welcome.
we would like to ask you some questions about the study that we saw online, but especially we would like to ask you what was your contribution to the research, what's your specialization, and so on.
Okay. So I helped to write the manuscript regarding reality shifting, which, as you know, is a concept and practice associated with consciously transitioning one's awareness or perception from their current reality, often referred to as CR, to an alternate reality, often referred as for the communities as DR or desired reality. And this practice has been spread all along, popular in online communities, particularly among fans of certain fictional universe where they imagine themselves shifting to live out experience in those worlds. So we got curious about this phenomenon and try to analyze its features and its phenomenology, trying to establish some comparison between reality shifting and other curious phenomena as maladaptive daydreaming, for example.
And you're if I don't remember wrong, you're specialized in maladaptive daydreaming, right?
Yeah, yeah, I am a psychologist with a PhD in social psychology, and I also specialize in maladaptive daydreaming and the treatment of dissociative disorders and autism spectrum disorders, ADHD, and also giftedness in adults.
Mhm. So, because it's your topic, would you care like to explain it, always considering all the common and different features, for example, with the reality shifting or with lucid dreaming?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I got your point exactly.
So,
Can you ask me again?
if you can explain what maladaptive daydreaming is
Oh, of course.
specifically, and always referring to reality shifting. So if there are any differences or common
Course,
things,
of
for
course.
example,
Yeah,
features.
yeah. We can talk about that. Maladaptive daydreaming is a psychological condition characterized by excessive and compulsive fantasizing that interferes with daily functioning. So people with MD, as we talk, may create vivid, complex, and immersive fantasy worlds or scenarios, often triggered by external stimuli like music, movies, or real life events. And these daydreams can become so engaging that people prioritize them over real life activities and responsibilities. And it becomes different regarding reality shifting, as reality shifting is, in fact, a kind of practice that people induce themselves uh, a state like a lucid dream. So they use hypnotic techniques and mindfulness exercises to get themselves engaged in a fictional world. But what most of the people who practice reality shifting think is that they are really able to access a fantastic or a fantasy world. They don't consider they are doing some kind of trance state, a hypnotic state. They really think they can access an alternate world, not as they are inducing themselves a lucid dreaming like state. I'm not sure if I'm getting
Yeah,
myself
yeah, of
clear.
course, you're
My English is not
very clear.
as good as I wished.
No, yeah, it's very clear. I was thinking about what can bring a teenager, because this reality shifting is a phenomenon that's common, most of all between among teenagers.
Teenagers, yeah, yeah.
Uh, what are the causes? What are the why do they do that? Why do they search and look for another reality in which to live in?
Yeah, we might find several causes for that. Well, the literature is not really clear and sure about that, but we as society, we always get involved, and we have a tendency to get ourselves involved in fantasies and fantastic scenarios, and to get our imagination the flow. But teenagers are particularly susceptible to external stimuli, and when one teenager starts to get a practice like reality shifting, for example, we have social phenomenon called social contagion,
Mm.
where people they get involved by a practice that another person is doing, so they start doing the same practice by watching other people doing what they are doing. So when one teenager publishes, for example, a video in YouTube teaching people how to get into the reality shifting state, they might get contagious about that and start doing that. And people, especially teenagers, they want to get connected. They want to get involved by things other people are doing, and to create a sense of community. So
So
that's
they
one.
look for a form of community in their scripts, because
Yeah,
they make a,
yeah.
and then they
Reality shifting seems to have a strong social and community feature, because people don't don't do that practice only by themselves. They want to connect with other people. They want to talk about that, and they want
But
to share their personal experience doing reality shifting.
probably in a different way, just in relation to the communication and the relationship that they can just have in a different state of consciousness. They probably just do you think that they are just reaching for another form of connection in another state of consciousness, or is it hard to say that?
It seems that people who get involved in reality shifting practice, they want to fulfill some experience and to get themselves involved in activities that elicit pleasure in their inner experience. So I think there is a strong social connection issue here, but we also have a seek for pleasure, a seek for getting their dreams and their fantasies fulfilled. So they try to get involved in this practice to regulate their emotion, to feel something that makes them feel pleasure, etc.
Okay, thank you.
That's interesting
Yeah,
to add,
really.
because we study all the form of communication and communities also in social media. So
And
this
also psychological effect, I want to say.
yeah, also psychological effect. So it's very important to us to point out also this phenomenon because I think nobody's talking about it very much. So it's important maybe to point out also because of the numbers, because we're talking big numbers here. I've seen like some TikToks, for example, they have billion of views. So it's not so, but why do you think uh nobody's talking about that? It why? I don't know.
Scientifically, you say? Because
Yeah.
usually the scientific mainstream research groups, they are not that interested in some more, let's say so, subjective topics such as maladaptive daydreaming, reality shifting, lucid dreams, and similar experience. They it seems that these kind of phenomena, they are not serious for most of the scientists and researchers, and it makes
This
me worried because we have several evidence suggesting that, for example, maladaptive daydreaming is a severe psychological condition that impairs a lot of areas in one's experience, a lot of areas in one's individual's life. So we should be more aware of this kind of practice and to get a more detailed look at it.
Yeah, do you think is it also because it's related to consciousness
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is like a topic that can be
Tricky.
tricky?
I wanna
Yeah,
say.
let's say it like that.
Yeah, yeah. And we don't have a specific definition of consciousness in the psychological field. We have a lot
Yeah.
of arguing and discussion regarding that subject. So things that are related to some alterations, for example, in the consciousness of one's experience, it might not get more scientific interest, for example.
Mhm.
Did you do you think that there are any correlations with the use of psychedelic substances or medicines or I don't know, substance in general or drugs that can just provide a sort of way,
Mm,
an easier way to
Usually, people get in touch with several substances to promote some kind of alteration in their inner experience, but we don't have so far evidence suggesting that there are some correlation between reality shifting and substance use, for example. We don't have this kind of register.
Would you consider like di vedere si è considerata una patologia in qualche modo?
Is it like considered as pathology?
Yeah.
No.
Mm,
experience.
It's not reality shifting. It's not considered a mental pathology as maladaptive daydreaming, for example. The psychological perspective on reality shifting is that RS is viewed more as a cultural phenomenon rather than a clinical condition, and it's often compared to lucid dreaming or deep visualization, but not typically pathologized as maladaptive daydreaming is, for example. And the specific goal of RS is clear and intentional. It's to experience or to visit a desired alternate reality. So practitioners often have a specific script or purpose for their shifting attempt, while in maladaptive daydreaming, for example, the goal is often unconscious and emotionally driven with no deliberate outcome in mind and in general, and the person may feel trapped in their dreamings, in their dreams. Sorry. So for most practitioners of reality shifting, they often integrate RS into their daily life as a kind of some kind of hobby or spiritual creative practice. And for most practitioners, it seems the experience of doing reality shifting does not disrupt their ability to function in reality. While in maladaptive daydreaming, for example, the experience of daydreaming in excess is often considered unproductive. It impairs people's relationships and causes a lot of mental health issues. So I'm not saying with this that reality shifting might not be problematic, but we have several evidence suggesting that MD, maladaptive daydreaming, for example, is a psychological condition that causes a lot of stress in people who experience it. While in reality shifting, we don't have so far evidence suggesting any association with psychopathology, although me as a researcher and as a clinical psychologist, I have been seeing that RS practice might cause, yes, suffering and social isolation, and people often uh, start losing focus of other areas of their lives, for example. So we need to take a more serious and scientific look regarding this phenomenon. It's not a common phenomenon. It's not a regular phenomenon. It's a new phenomenon, and we have to take a detailed look at it to produce more knowledge about that.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other
Yeah, I was wondering, are you going on with your studies, with the research? Is the research still object of your studies also with the other colleagues?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My main research focus is directed to maladaptive daydreaming, emotions regulation, experience, and now I'm starting to plan a study on giftness in adulthood. So I'm not a particular interest in reality shifting anymore, although if someone is doing a study, I would be able to participate in it, but that's not my kind of the expertise because I don't work mainly with adolescents or teenagers, and most of the people who engage in this practice they are teenagers, so it,
Yeah. Right.
it's regarding the target population.
Okay. Do you have any
Yeah,
other?
probably the last one because I'm really interested in this topic, and just like us, of course. And
Okay.
I was wondering if if you have ever just noticed some differences on perception of reality after a reality shifting experience, if something could change in the way we perceive the world.
By doing reality shifting,
Yeah.
we don't have any evidence suggesting that doing reality shifting might cause any permanent alteration in the way people see the world. For example, we don't have evidence suggesting that so far.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've been like in some forums online, and I've seen, this is not a question, it's just just to talk about, because I've seen some forum where people invited the shifters to do the perma shifting. So it's like a shifting that's permanent. So it's inviting them to committing suicide, apparently. So there are many forms, because as all the phenomena, also this one is very very difficult to approach, because
Yeah,
and also very dark in some
yeah.
ways,
That
this concept.
that's very concerning, and we don't have any scientific way for people to get permanently involved in a practice like reality shifting. You can't out here by yourself your experience. You can provide yourself with a regular and short-term experience of getting your consciousness out here in some way, but you can't do that permanently. And what happens to people who practice reality shifting can vary widely, as the experience is subjective and influenced by personal beliefs, imagination, and expectations. So people who commonly practice reality shifting, they common report a vivid, lifelike experience in their DR, desired reality. And this can feel like lucid dreaming, where they are fully aware and in control of the scenario. But it's not uncommon that we see people talking that they often lose control of the scenario. And successfully shifting is often associated with feelings of accomplishment, joy, and satisfaction, as individuals feel they've accessed a world they've imagined or deeply desired. There is a strong connection with their personal values.
Okay.
Related to this last thing we're talking about, the paradigm shifting thing, can people experience reality shifting like in a continuous way, be considered as if they are having a psychosis or something, or is that too much?
We don't have any association in the literature comparing reality shifting to a psychosis experience. We have to distinguish and to separate those phenomena. When one is experience psychosis, eh, uh, they often uh, lose perspective on the current reality, while people who experience maladaptive daydreaming or reality shifting, they often know what's happening. They are able to separate what is reality and what is fantasy. But it makes me worried that most of those teenagers who practice reality shifting, they really believe they are getting into an alternate world. They don't have the consciousness, that the awareness, sorry, that they are just making some psychological tricks to access an alternative fantasy experience. They really have the belief, they have the power to go to other worlds and
Yeah.
desire realities, and we don't have so far any evidence suggesting that people can do that, in fact. So it makes me worried that some of those teenagers might engage in a psychosis experience or have some psychotic traits that might be related to schizophrenia, for example.
But
Thank
it
you.
could be like an influence that comes from the influencing of social media, for example, because I think also when a teenager, for example, enters on a platform, social media platform as TikTok, and starts to see many contents about, for example, in this case, reality shifting, he or she starts to believe that's real, and maybe he engages in a sort of
Yeah,
coping mechanism. So
yeah,
also it's something that it's not very connected to reality, but
Kind
maybe
of.
yeah, kind of. Maybe it's cultural or related just to forms of believing.
yeah.
Uh,
I think we have to study better the association of reality shifting and psychopathology variables. It's unclear in the literature. We don't have so far an empirical study assessing people with real data. We just have a theoretical study. That's
yeah.
what we did in our study.
Mhm. So I think
Okay.
we're okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you
for
so
your
much.
Okay,
time.
girls, did I help you?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely, yes.
So we're
Okay.
now we will write down the structure of the next episode of the podcast, and then we'll let you know if you're interested, and then we'll let you,
Okay.
of course, have the link with
Yeah.
all the
Of
contents.
course. Just for curiosity, this conversation we are having right now, what do you plan to do with it?
I think so we're gonna use, I think, maybe some sentences
Mm-hmm.
from
Yeah,
Okay.
your
not just
statement.
recording in Italian, because it's not possible to oblige people to understand English. So
Of course, of
either
course.
some sort of
Okay.
voiceover, or gonna just tell people what we spoke about, and maybe we can insert maybe an audio
Of
of
course,
you.
of course.
Hi.
Just let me know what are you
Yeah,
going
for
to
Okay.
do,
sure.
and let me
Yes,
know.
for sure.
Okay.
And would you
Unfortunately,
mind if I publish some excerpts of our conversation on social
No, you
media?
can. Of
Is it
course you
okay
can.
for
yeah.
you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
It
you
would be great.
want, I will give you the social media of
Mhm.
our accounts. For example, if you want to publish it on Instagram, we'll give you
Yeah,
our Instagram so we can
yeah.
share
Yeah.
it too.
Can you do that for me right now? Because when I get
Yeah.
some excerpts published, I can how can I say that in English? I can mention also you
Mention, yeah,
too.
of course.
Oh, yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Be great.
Yeah. Okay. It
And
was
so
very
we're gonna.
nice to talk to you once
It
again.
was
It
a
was a
pleasure
And
for
pleasure.
us.
Thank you
and
so
when
much.
you're ready for the podcast, just let me know with some anticipation, Martina, because my schedule is very busy right now.
Yeah.
So if we get in anticipation, I can guarantee that I can be with you.
No,
Okay.
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 Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your time.
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
I will ask my assistant to edit the video, and then I will get back to you with the link. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
Then
you.
much.
have you all a nice
Bye.
day. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Nice
Bye.
to
Thank
see you
you.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.